there, tubers. How about another recipe? Apple pie cake. This is a recipe I found online, and I thought I would fuck with it because that's what I do. So important to lay all your shit out and prep everything and make sure you have all your ingredients. I had to go to the store and get more cinnamon rolls. And I had to make sure I had the walnuts, the raisins, and they were squishy. And I had to put this in the microwave because all you guys told me that's the best thing to do with it. There's nothing diet friendly about this. It's just mega fuckalicious to the max. Now, I've told you before, kiddos, that size does matter. And for this time, it's all about your budget. This is pretty much a no-brainer. 88 cents a pound, right? And the big ones are $2.99 a pound. I'm a big fan of mixing it up with the apple. You know, apples are a lot like people. Once you take the skin off, they pretty much all look the same. What did I tell you? They've all got seeds, and they're all just so lovable. I like to core my apples in 2 strokes. That was the second one. Because with little apples, they tend to break. I keep all my peelings in a paper towel and put them in the trash. That way, I don't fuck up the garbage disposal. This is probably one of the most important parts of this recipe. Really, really thin slices. Can you see? Really thin. And it takes a little while to get it done. So this is kind of the zen part of this recipe. This is also the part of the recipe that takes the longest, so I like to get it done first so I'm not fucking around scrambling at the last minute. If I were a real fancy fucking chef, I would know how to slice these a little better than this, but I'm not, so here we go. I'm gonna put them here in this little colander, set them aside. Oh shit, this one's too small, but there. How's that? When you fuck it up, you just fix it up. You have to have this stuff ready when you get your rolls done. 4 eggs, 1. And a half a cup of milk. A teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now I like to whisk at this point because if you put the cinnamon in now, shit flies everywhere. You need a whole tablespoon of cinnamon. Scrape it off against the edge, right? Pour it in on the top. Because cinnamon is so lightweight, it ends up sitting on top. And if you start whisking too vigorously, that shit flies everywhere. So you have to whisk it in very gently. And don't be fooled, it's not ready yet. It's still sitting on top of the liquids. There we go, getting a little better. See there? See there? Now I can whisk the fuck out of this. It takes a bit to get it all whisked in, otherwise it stays clumpy and you don't want that. I say packed, this is what they mean. They mean smush it down. Don't just put it in there lightly. I'm actually going to cheat a little bit because the last batch I made was a little bit too sugary. So I think I'm going to go with this. It's maybe 3/4 of a cup. I say that's a big fuck yeah, right? Now you also told me that putting a piece of bread in here will keep it soft for a very long time, and I found out that that's the truth. You guys remember about the walnuts, right? You put them in a plastic bag and you beat the shit out of them like they owe you money. All right, the next step is 2 packages of cinnamon rolls. And this icing packet aside for later. I just figured out if I had kept these in the refrigerator instead of out while I started filming, they would have been a little easier to handle. See how they're wiggling? Yeah, make sure that these things are cold when you go to cut them. Yeah, and that's not working. That's fucked up right there. Okay, let's try this again. Yeah, see how much easier this is now? Sometimes I like to unroll 2 at a time just to make it more efficient. Now that these are a little more chilled, it's so much easier. So that's the secret, guys. Don't let these get too warm. What I've tried to do is make sure that I got an even layer in the pan so that nothing is uneven. You know, it's kind of like life. You try to make sure that everybody comes out even. That's the base. That's what we're going to put everything in. Okay, the recipe calls for about 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to think that that's close enough for the game I play. Yeah, maybe a little bit extra, because butter, right? Now it's It's time to put in that brown sugar. And because it's packed in there so hard, you kind of have to dig it out. You stir that all around on a medium-high heat. This is sort of like the applegasm, remember? But not quite. It's sort of the applegasm on steroids. These apples, if you remember, are sliced a lot thinner than they were for the applegasm. Applegasm was just chunks. Oh, can you hear the sizzle? Get the last couple of pieces coated up. When I put the lid on, it's going to steam them down a little bit. That right there is fuckalicious. Flying saucer coming in. While the apples are cooking down, this is the second step of assembly. You know how my cookbook goes? If you have the cookbook, you know that I put out the recipes in steps. Yeah, so that you can follow that shit. Even a beginner. You need the ingredients right here, and you need assembly and prep. There you go. I hope you have my cookbook. This is the eggs and milk and cinnamon mixture, remember? So we're going to pour that evenly all over here. Oh, yumness. I like to pat it down, make sure everything's covered. Give it a little shake. The original recipe did not call for walnuts or raisins, but I happen to love them, so I'm going to sprinkle them in. Do whatever the fuck you want, remember? If you like it, it goes in. If not, fuck it. And by the way, I had to film this whole thing by myself, so I did it in 2 days. This is the day when I did all the fancy stuff where my hair looks good and my clothes look good, right? It's one of the joys of being a YouTuber. Sometimes you have to do shit by yourself. And you know, there's a life lesson in there. If you've got a job to do, just fucking do it. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Granny, always with the fucking lessons. Well, who else are you going to listen to? You're not going to listen to your own family, but you'll listen to me, right? Because, well, you wouldn't give me sass, because I wouldn't give you any, because I love you. Yeah. In the empirical, lyrical, digital sort of sense. Of course I do. Let's check on the apples, okay? Oh, they're mushed down, but they're not soft and squishy. I threw the raisins in here so they would pick up some of the moisture. These are ready to go on the top layer. I'm putting it in without the juice first so I can sprinkle the juice evenly all over everything. I suppose you could say it's sort of like an apple cobbler, cinnamon roll, apple pie cake, whatever. The recipe said it was an apple pie cake, and I'm going, well, I love apple pie, fuck yeah. And who doesn't love cake, right? I'm sure some of you will write to me and tell me you don't like cake, but if you don't, well, then don't make this. Make something else. Pour from this side of the pan so that you don't end up with a counter full of slop and then not being in the pan that you want. Pièce de résistance of this is squeezing the icing on just for some extra sugar, because why the fuck not? This is better if it's already warmed up at room temperature. See, because the apples are warm, it's already just sort of melting in. All you diabetics, you need to turn around now. So this is why you don't hit it with a spatula afterwards, because it gets kind of sticky. Lesson learned. Now, if I didn't show you my fuck-ups, you would think I was perfect all the time, and I'm guaranteeing you that I'm not. It's ready to go in the oven at 375 degrees for about 40 minutes, I think, 35 to 40 minutes. Oh, look at that, look at that. Check it out, inner tubers! Is that just too fucking delicious? Oh, I cannot wait to cut into this. Well, actually, I already did up there in the corner. I had to make sure that it was okay, because what I'm going to do, did you know that I'm having a book signing in Victorville on Friday the 21st, the day after this video comes out, and I'm going to put a bunch of this in little cupcake papers, and I'm going to take it to the wonderful staff up there because, well, why not? I sure the fuck shouldn't eat that whole thing. Oh, no, no, no. No, my pancreas would not like that, my doctor would not like that, and actually my state of mind would not like that, because I would be all kind of drunk on sugar. Who the fuck needs that? Now listen up, sweethearts, that's the end of the video, except for all the stuff that I like to do. First off is my Patreon grandkids. Their names are going to scroll at the end of the credits, because I can do that now. I learned how. You watch those names, and those people mean the world to me, because they are supporting me with a monthly pledge. And you could be one of those people too. Just sign up for Patreon, okay? I got a hot tip for you. I'm going to start doing Skype calls at about the $12 level. One Skype call a month. For 5 minutes. You get 5 minutes of my time, in addition to all my fun videos. On Facebook, you know, follow, share with all your friends, with the whole fucking world. And YouTube, oh, guys, still giving me grief. But just please hit subscribe and hit the dinger bell and hope the fuck that you get your notifications. Alright? Rod and Vince, I miss the fuck out of you this shoot. I hope you guys are all following my twins, RKVC. I'm going to scroll their names right across the middle right here. And of course there's a channel link down in the description. My cookbook, I can't sign off without telling you about my cookbook until the 24th of December. It's half price at Barnes & Noble, and it's still half price at Amazon. So get that shit now, give it away for presents. I mean, where else can you give somebody a year's worth of presents for $11 fucking dollars? Just saying, you know? As for all of you, you know, no. Granny loves you. Biggest kisses ever. Happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. I'm gonna take a couple of weeks off because I fucking deserve it. I'll see you in the next video. Remember to look at the videos, if you're on YouTube, look at the other videos that are showing up here, okay? You know I love you. I couldn't do this without your support.